Can this series between India and England go a day without controversy erupting? I'm guessing not. Biases, double standards and tempers flaring. That's pretty much what's been the undertones of this tour. And there was yet another episode yesterday with a heated confrontation and India being given a very hostile welcome at the Oval. So what really happened? Let's dive right in. India arrived at the Oval to get in their first practice session, nets, a bit of training, the works. And an integral part of that first practice anywhere, more so when you're traveling and it's an overseas venue, is the pitch inspection. That's the first agenda for any team, more so the visiting side. What does the pitch look like? A chat with the groundsman and the curator sometimes to find out a little more about the main strip and the conditions. It's normal. It's what everyone the world over does. And someone who's been a player himself and now a coach would also be aware of what protocols to keep in mind when doing so. So when Gautam Gambhir went to do just that, inspect the pitch, the Oval curator came towering in, telling him to step away from the track and not to tamper it with the spikes. Gambhir was surprised at first, but also perturbed at this ludicrous order. This was the first friction.
Don't tell us what we need to do. You don't tell us what to do. You don't need to tell us what to do. Tell me, okay, you don't tell any of us what to do. You don't tell any of us. You have no right to tell us. Okay? You have no right to tell any of us what to do. Okay, you're just a groundsman. You're just a groundsman. Nothing beyond that. You're just a groundsman.
Batting coach Shritanshu Kotak then attended the press conference and shed some light on what actually transpired during that altercation. He did not shy away from showing his amazement at how strange the curator behaved towards the visiting team, towards someone who's been around the sport for decades now.
The ground staff came and said, you stand 2.5 meters away from here. So literally he was saying, you go outside the rope to head coach and see the wicket. You can be protective, but end of the day, it's a cricket pitch. It's not an antique where you can't touch because otherwise it's 200 years old and it can be broken, you know.
I like Kotak's sense of humor. I know the man. He's also been an India cricketer. He's also been India cricketer Ravindra Jadeja's mentor in the earlier years. He's a very cool customer, but it is clear he too found the curator's intervention deliberate and ridiculous. First of all, no international cricketer in his right mind would wear spikes and walk on the pitch before the game. As you know, spikes on wet earth create scuff marks and you can't let that happen before the match starts. Two, everyone playing or who's a part of international cricket knows the difference between spikes and the rubber spiked ones, the jogging shoes, which is what they were all wearing there. So there would have been no way that any damage would have been done to the antique track. But the best part about this heated exchange emerged later, when a picture started doing the rounds, one from 2 years ago, with the tall, hefty Oval curator Fortis sharing a lovely moment with the England coach Brendon McCullum. Well, if a picture ever screamed double standards, this was it. In fact, he was rather standoffish when the Indian media gathered there and asked him why Gambhir was angry and what really happened between the two out there in the middle. He said he didn't have a clue and that the media should ask the Indian head coach Gautam Gambhir instead, because clearly he had a problem. There in fact was another instance that occurred right after that when the Indian team support staff brought out the ice box. Now it's a part of every training session with any team. You'll see a colourful box lying in the middle of the ground while the players are training, while they're having the net sessions on. It normally carries juices, water, the energy drinks. The curator also rushed in and stopped them from doing so, and that completely set Gambhir off. Gambhir was livid. He was heard telling the curator to mind his own business, that he was just a groundsman and that was all his capacity was, that they knew what they were doing. He was gesturing, he was wagging his finger at the curator. Now, yes, some of those words and the actions, the gestures did look uncalled for, was harsh. Now, Gambhir, as we know, wears his heart on his sleeve. But even so, that for anyone to be told off in that manner was a bit much. But what about the curator here? He's just as experienced. He's in fact one of ECB's most trusted hands here. And I get the pressure on him to go that extra yard and help the home side to bring about a perfect track for what is going to be a defining test here in the series. Get the kind of track that they want. But does that involve ordering the visitors around with ridiculous statements that could well be misinterpreted? What we're also hearing from experts who have travelled to the Oval in the past is that this is nothing new. The curator is famous for ensuring that his overbearing presence rankles a few of the visiting sides, coaches or captains. It's apparently part of their secret unwritten docket to get under the skin of the opposition even before they step into game time or get match ready. Put the mind games in motion way before England team jumps in, which they will come match day, but they will not have the services of their skipper Ben Stokes. The man who was in the centre of the storm in the previous match is sitting out of this one, and Ollie Pope is going to be the captain for that last day. So a big blow for England right away when they head into this test. But while Gambhir has let this episode get to him, what England will now be well and truly aware of is that even though Virat Kohli has left the building, the fact is such antics will only spur India on. That all of this is leading up to them being invigorated and that much more pumped up to put the contest to rest and level the series.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka karj mo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Sekali radikali.
Japanese,
Oh, 4 trilhões do idioma.
Portuguese,
Por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select a language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.